Wow, are you guys as sick and tired of all of the fear-mongering over this brand new disease as I am? You ready for some real information, something that can help you not just with this one, but the other ones that come along, whatever else is happening in your life? Well, that's what I'm trying to get at here. I want to give you some information that can help raise your literacy, not just with the disease of the week that we've got now, but with your own health. And I'm doing this using an email that came from Dr. Gutman that was called Glutathione Against Virus Diseases. Now, I want to say up front that this is meant to inform, not entertain. And everybody who knows me knows the way I talk and how I comport myself, and I can't change who I am just for this. But I mean for the slides. The presentation slides are, they're packed with information. There's going to be a lot of words on them, and they're not pretty pictures. I'm sorry. I wish I could make this into something really pretty and entertaining with moving characters and all sorts of stuff, but that just can't happen with this. So, who in the world am I? My name is David Lee Kreitz. I'm an author and editor, both fiction and nonfiction. I've had a syndicated column. I've done writing for quite a number of years. I'm a DevOps engineer. I've been in the computer industry for 4 decades. And I've also research and development. And I've done that in a number of different industries. And lastly, I'm currently an Immunotech distributor. And that will come into play as we go along through this discussion. So, who in the world is Dr. Gutman, and why do you care about his email? Well, Dr. Gutman is the senior medical consultant for Immunotech. He's the world's leading author and authority on glutathione. His books are used in the nutrition and healing classes at the college level. He's got a wealth of information. He has a reputation that is international. And so he himself is an authority on how all of what I'm about to talk about works. You'll notice when I was going through my credentials, I am not a doctor. I've done medical research, but I'm not a medical researcher. I did the computer part of it. A lot of those kinds of things I've tinkered with, but I'm not an expert. I'm using the information that he and others have presented. I'm putting it together in this video so that I can present it to you. Now, I'm going to be talking about Immunical, and Dr. Gutman also talks about Immunical. And so you're going to say, well, what in the world is that? Is this just another goober juice? Is this just something, some fly-by-night organization? Well, you're looking at the very header of the PDR page, the Physician's Desk Reference. Immunical is actually a registered nutraceutical. It actually has properties that are recognized for their ability to do what Immunotech claims Immunical can do. Immunotech is the company, Immunical is the product. Some important facts to try and help cement some of that in. I'm really only going to talk about the first 4. And this slide is old. It's a couple of years old. I don't have the updated numbers, but they're higher than this. I'm just going to go with this because it's good enough. There are 63 publications that have been completed on Immunical. Immunical is the product. 159 scientists have written papers regarding Immunical. 43 medical journals have published articles. 89 research institutes have contributed to the Immunical research. Now understand, to get something put into a medical journal, it has had to follow very strict guidelines. There's had to be placebo controls. It's had to be double-blind studies. There's all of the rigors necessary for a full-on medical research project have had to be met, including delivering all of that information to someone else for them to peer review. And if they have a problem with it, they get the problem back to you. You have to fix it. And once it passes the peer review process, then it's eligible to be published in one of these medical journals. Then the medical journal looks at it and says, is this something that's valuable that we want to present to the world at large? And if it is, then it gets published. So to say that it's been published in 43 medical journals is nothing to sneeze at. That is not trivial. The other three are different organizations, and this is going to be a long enough video as it is. I'm not going to go into each of those. But those first four give you some validity, or give the Immunical product some validity. You know that we're not talking about some fly-by-night organization. This has 4 decades of real, honest-to-goodness, full-on medical research behind it. So let's get to the email that he sent out. I'm just going to read it, and you can read along with me. It says, over the past few weeks, this is Dr. Gutman, have received numerous questions about the coronavirus and whether raising glutathione can offer some protection. For the sake of time and efficiency, I have written this message. So obviously he's been getting a lot of emails, and he doesn't want to just handwrite something different to each person to answer whatever their unique question is. He's putting all of this together. My answer is that I believe there is a very important role for glutathione in this situation, but I do not have any direct studies to prove my point. Thus far, no clinical trials have been published looking directly at the role of glutathione in the treatment or prevention of coronavirus. And actually, we're going to see some that come close, but this guy is a legitimate medical research scientist. He's not going to claim something that's not real. I know that we all hear about people that we wonder if they did or not, but he's not. He is not that kind of a person. So, on with the email. Why then do I support the idea of raising glutathione as an effective strategy? It is based on the hundreds of other studies where glutathione has been shown to positively affect the outcome in numerous other viral diseases and plays an important role in the development of these infections. Doing a bit of searching on PubMed will reveal articles on glutathione from the common cold to the flu to AIDS to hepatitis, DNA viruses, RNA viruses, retroviruses, and more. Just parenthetically, the coronaviruses are RNA viruses. So when we're talking about those in the future, you'll see kind of where it fits in. To simplify, the majority of these viruses studied thrive in an environment of low glutathione and high oxidative stress. So you don't want the virus to thrive in you, so you need to boost your glutathione and you need to reduce oxidative stress. That's my comment on what he just said. Majority of viruses studied thrive in an environment of low glutathione and high oxidative stress. I have listed a small sampling of these studies below for those who want to pursue this research. If you come across any new developments regarding coronavirus or glutathione, I would love to be alerted. And then he gives his information. And you can look him up. So as a note, he gave a couple of dozen reports. And I'm not pulling all of the information out of all of the reports. I found a selection of them, and I'm giving you some extracted information from them. But all of the reports being discussed in these slides were formatted as straight text. And so all highlighting, italicized, or the colors or whatever are mine for emphasis in this discussion. And again, I didn't pull all of the information out of each study referenced in his email. If you want to see his email on the last slide, I give you a way to contact me. So we're just going to jump in. Here's the first one. You can see right away there's a couple of blue sentences, and that's how I'm highlighting it. The very top is the actual URL to the article in question. So the balance between free radicals and antioxidants is an important factor for maintaining health and slowing disease progression. Remember, just a couple of slides ago, low glutathione and high oxidative stress help push diseases along. So the balance between free radicals and antioxidants is an important factor. So we've got to keep enough antioxidants up to take care of the free radicals. And then at the bottom, natural antioxidants play central roles in enhancing immune system function via oxidative stress dependent mechanisms. Oxidative stress appears to play significant roles in many human diseases. If we have our cells in some kind of a stress, then they can't function properly. And the more stress they're under, the less properly they function until it reaches a point in time where it's actually fatal for the cell and it dies. But we'll see more about that later. I went through the rest of the study because it discusses the use of whey proteins, and Immunical is based on whey proteins. The two I want to highlight first is the second and the fourth one. Their discussion was how to raise and the benefits of using whey proteins, and using them increase glutathione levels, which is what we're hoping for, and reduced oxidative stress, which is what we're hoping for. So those two are the main things that we're going to be talking about this whole time. And we want to increase the glutathione levels. We want to reduce oxidative stress because those are the two factors that cause diseases to be able to flourish in your system. Of course, then the other ones, normalized blood pressure, wouldn't that be wonderful? Reduced inflammation, how many inflammatory diseases do we have going around? And so those are the benefits of using this kind of whey protein, which is, as I said, the source used for the Immunical products. The next study, antioxidant therapy is a potential approach to severe influenza-associated complications. One thing I forgot to point out in the last study is you can see up there that I highlight who the authors are. I did no research into who these authors are, so I can't come back and say, "Oh, this guy's awesome" or whatever. I'm assuming that if these research studies are in PubMed, then they have already vetted who the authors are, and so I can just take it at face value. So back to the title: antioxidant therapy, potential approach, severe influenza-associated complications. You don't want to have severe influenza-associated complications. That causes death. Now, this started off, they're studying the H1N1 from when it was first introduced into the human family. Just as an aside, in the epidemiological world, when they use the term novel, that means this is something that has erupted into the human family, where there is no native immunity to it. And I guess it doesn't have to be just the human family, but that's all I'm cared about in this discussion. So H1N1 is not a novel influenza this year because it's been going on year after year. There's a lot of immunity in the human family to H1N1. And so even though, for instance, I'm interacting on a daily basis with a number of people who have H1N1 or had it over the past month, I haven't gotten it because I got it pretty solid on back in 2009. So I kind of have that immunity. So I just want to point that out because a lot of people are still talking about the novel coronavirus, which has now been called COVID-19, and they think novel is somehow the name of the virus as opposed to just the point that this new coronavirus showed up and there's nobody out there that's immune to it. So in 2009, they experienced a new influenza pandemic, and many patients died from severe complications associated with this pandemic, despite receiving intensive care. Now, this suggests that a definitive medical treatment for severe influenza-associated complications has not yet been established. And so when these authors are writing this, they're trying to point out that in 2009, nobody really truly had a clue on how to take care of these very severe cases. This continues, and he starts off, the combination of antioxidants and antiviral drugs synergistically reduces the lethal effects of influenza virus infections. That's really, really important. Think about this. If I can raise my glutathione levels so that I now have adequate antioxidants, then whatever medications that they may be giving me, they will work together and enhance each other's work to reduce the lethal effects of influenza virus infections. So even if you get it, the problems aren't going to be as bad. Now, I'm not trying to say that nobody will die from it, but if it's your time, I guess it's your time. I'm not going to try and trivialize that, but all I'm saying here is that the lethal effects are reduced. And then the focus of this study in blue at the bottom, this review article updates the knowledge of antioxidant therapy as a potential approach to severe influenza-associated complications. How can we bump the antioxidant therapy when we're trying to help people with severe complications? And Immunical has the precursors for glutathione. The glutathione is made in your body. That takes care of that's the antioxidant. So you're in good shape with that. The next study, GSH is glutathione. So glutathione and analogs in antiviral therapy. And so again, we'll start with the blue there. Glutathione is the most powerful intracellular antioxidant and plays a role in the detoxification of a variety of electrophilic compounds and peroxides. I'm going to go back again and I'm going to say, you know what? I'm not a true medical researcher. And so a lot of these terms, I had to go look them up and figure out what in the world they meant and how this worked. And I spent the better part of a week putting this together. Some of these things, it doesn't really matter, because the bottom line is the blue at the bottom. A deficiency in glutathione puts the cell at risk for oxidative damage. There's a difference between oxidative stress and the damage that can come from it, because enough oxidative stress leads to enough damage that the cell dies, and that's just not the happy case. This continues. A deficiency in glutathione puts a cell at risk for oxidative damage, and so we have both sides of that comment. An imbalance of glutathione is observed in a wide range of pathologies, and then it lists some of them: cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, cystic fibrosis, several viral infections, including HIV, as well as in aging. Several reports have provided evidence for the use of glutathione and molecules able to replenish intracellular glutathione levels in antiviral therapy. If I can raise the glutathione level in the cells in your body, when a virus infects it, the cell can get rid of them more easily and you recover faster. The next study, you can see there's a whole list of authors. Antiviral and immunomodulatory properties of pro-glutathione molecules. The big point that I'm pulling out of here is glutathione is involved in many cellular functions, such as detoxification, amino acid transport, production of coenzymes, and the recycling of vitamins E and C. So it does a lot of things in the cells. Continuing, decreased glutathione levels have been found in numerous diseases. Again, it's listing some of them: cancer, viral infections, and immune dysfunctions. And just to mention here, Immunical does have a method of use patent for the prevention and treatment of cancer. These are the kinds of studies that have confirmed that, so that the FDA would give that method of use patent to Immunical. The observations reported herein show that glutathione molecules represent a new therapeutic agent to treat antiviral infections. And he goes all the way down and says, including AIDS. And so even the tough ones like AIDS, a pro-glutathione treatment as a therapeutic agent can help in that. The next study, it's got a freaking long title, but it's basically the same thing. The role of cysteine and glutathione in HIV infection and other diseases associated with muscle wasting and immunological dysfunction. I'm pointing this one out necessarily because it talks about the cysteine and the glutamine levels, and these are basically the thing that Immunical provides is a double bonded cysteine that your body uses to build the glutathione. These symptoms are found in reduced glutathione levels, etc. are found in patients with HIV infection, cancer, etc., etc. The coincidence of these symptoms in diseases of different etiological origin suggests a causal relationship. So basically, one of their conclusions is we're finding low glutathione at the cellular level for a whole slew of diseases. And there's got to be some relationship there. It may compromise the initially stable balance between the immune system and the virus and trigger disease progression. So whatever is going wrong with you, the part I didn't highlight, it may not be life-threatening, but for somebody with HIV, it could be, because whatever that other thing that's happening may compromise the balance between the immune system and the virus and would trigger the disease to progress. And so by keeping that glutathione level high, you have a better chance of not having the disease progression. There's 2 points here that I'm pointing out. You can see the blue there. The cysteine level is a physiological regulator. By having appropriate amounts of cysteine, the immune system can build the glutathione it needs, and the glutathione, as we already seen, is responsible for a huge number of functions inside of the cell, and so it's a regulator of a lot of things. And then cysteine supplementation may be a useful therapy. So the next one, glutathione and immune function. This is getting a lot closer to exactly what we're looking for, but we're kind of building up to it here. This is talking about a delicately balanced intermediate level of glutathione. Your system, your body requires glutathione, but it doesn't require tons of it. It requires exactly the right amount. The next blue part down there. Certain functions, such as DNA synthetic response, are exquisitely sensitive to reactive oxygen intermediates and therefore are favored by high levels of antioxidant glutathione. So your whole system is tuned to needing a certain balance of glutathione. And fortunately, your own immune system knows the appropriate amount of glutathione to push through your system. It's not like vitamin C where I'm sure you've heard people say, well, if one's good, two's better, and if two's good, then let's do four. And so you see from time to time these people who take mega doses of vitamin C. Well, you just pee out what you're not using, but you're wasting a lot of it. Well, in this case, you can't overdo the glutathione. You could overdo glutathione if it was something that you could take in a pill, but Immunical gives the double bonded cysteine that your body needs to make its own glutathione at the appropriate amounts. And this right here is discussing that there is a delicate balance that you need. And so you can't just overdose on glutathione, even if it was possible to take it that way. And then the conclusion here, immunological functions in diseases that are associated with a cysteine and glutathione deficiency significantly enhanced and potentially restored by cysteine supplementation. So we've had 3 studies that we've gone through that have listed a wide variety of things, cancer, viruses, all sorts of stuff, that are augmented by cysteine and glutathione deficiencies, and this conclusion is that they can be significantly enhanced by restored by the supplementation, which is exactly what Immunical does. And then this is yet another one. It's a different disease, hepatitis C, but that's a virus, and most viruses work in pretty much the same way, although they're vastly different. They kind of work in the same way, which is why they're all called viruses. And the highlighted part, oxidative stress is triggered when the concentration of oxygen species in the extracellular or intracellular environment exceeds antioxidant defenses. So when you have too many of these free radicals for the antioxidants to flush out, then you have problems. And that really sounds logical, but we're building a case here, and so trying to take care of all of the different parts of it. Cells are protected and modulate oxidative stress through the interplay of intracellular antioxidant agents, mainly glutathione. And then down there, the cell damage induced by oxidative stress generated by the virus itself and the cell antiviral machinery. These are things that help with its with its reproduction, and we want to get rid of that. Next study, glutathione and HIV infection. Again, there's been a lot of research with glutathione and HIV. It's a very, very difficult virus to battle. However, glutathione is the main intracellular defense against oxidative stress. Every time we're talking about oxidative stress, glutathione is the main intracellular defense against that. Boosting your glutathione is the best way to maintain that defense. The importance of glutathione for immune function regulation of gene expression, as well as therapeutic interventions with redox-activated drugs, are discussed in the commentary of the study. That's their focus. Glutathione helps reduce the oxidative stress and helps you overcome the issues with HIV. The next one, cysteine and glutathione deficiency in AIDS patients. Again, there's been a lot of research with this because this is one of the worst ones. This is something that we have to really push our understanding to get a handle around it, and it does a very good job. HIV-infected persons at all stages of the disease were found to have decreased plasma cysteine and cysteine concentrations and decreased intracellular glutathione levels. So all HIV-infected persons were low in cysteine and glutathione. What happens if we boost that? It ameliorates some of the problems. The next study, reducing agents inhibit rhinovirus-induced upregulation. Again, rhinovirus is another cold. It's another virus, and we're looking at how some of these things work. We're still, as a side note, I'm still seeing comments floating by on Facebook and Twitter and such where people are saying, well, more people die from the flu or whatever than than from coronavirus, so why are we worried about it? This discussion that we're going through here, it's not about COVID-19. It's about raising your health so any of these that come to you can be more quickly resolved and flushed out of your system. And so you have a better outcome. So this is yet another one. This common cold. Rhinovirus infection triggers the production of reactive oxygen species. Glutathione inhibits the dose-dependent manner rhinovirus-induced ICAM1 upregulation. So it basically is just saying, if you've got enough glutathione in your system, then even that virus is affected. And we've heard reactive species and oxygen species. I'm going to describe that in the next slide, but this is saying glutathione is a major cellular antioxidant, is considered an inhibitor of the inflammatory response involving reactive oxygen species. We've heard part of this phrase now 3 times. Glutathione, major cellular antioxidant. It's the best one. People call it the master antioxidant. And so it is the one that gives the most bang for your buck, basically. And so even if you've got an inflammatory disease, then this is a good way to help regulate that. Now, reactive oxygen species, that's a type of unstable molecule that contains oxygen and easily reacts with other molecules in a cell. This is the official definition. You can see at the bottom where I pulled that definition out of. And in fact, it came from cancer.gov. A buildup of reactive oxygen species in cells may cause damage to DNA, RNA, and proteins and may cause cell death. That's not a good plan. Reactive oxygen species are free radicals. I'm sure you've heard that quite a bit. And oxygen radicals, and it causes oxidative stress. So whenever we've discussed oxygen species or reactive oxygen species or any of those kinds of things, that's all been kind of funneling down to oxidative stress. Now we're back to the study. Consequently, glutathione depletion prevented the something-induced activation of antiviral response and its inhibition of influenza virus infection. So GSH or glutathione depletion stopped your body from being able to respond to the virus. It was increased by the glutathione depletion and the fine tune of the innate immune response. That was kind of the issue. The last sentence, we conclude that the main function of endogenous glutathione is not to limit inflammation, but to fine-tune the innate immune response to the infection. So this is not an anti-inflammatory. This is something that allows your body to fine-tune its response to whatever infection we're talking about, which is why on a number of the previous research studies, they've listed a whole slew of different diseases that it affected. Inhibition of influenza infection by glutathione. Once again, infection by RNA virus induces oxidative stress. We've seen this a number of times. I'm just trying to give you enough of these so that you realize it's not a one-off. One person didn't study it and it came that way. And of course, the coronavirus is an RNA virus, so there you get to see that this is probably as close as any of these studies come to discussing coronavirus as such. Down in the middle, in this study, experiments were performed to determine whether thiol antioxidant glutathione blocked influenza viral infection. And basically, they were doing this in a culture, not in a human, and so they were watching the culture to see if glutathione would block the viral infection. Together, the data suggests that the glutathione had an anti-influenza activity. And oxidative stress in other conditions that deplete glutathione enhance in the epithelium of the oral, nasal, or upper airways, that's all your face, enhance susceptibility to influenza infection. So if you don't have enough glutathione in your sinuses, in your nose, and your upper airway, if you don't have enough glutathione there, then that's going to enhance your susceptibility to influenza infection. Another, RNA viruses, and again, we've got the oxidative stress mediated cell death, and this is another study that's looking at it from a different direction. The main thrust of this review is to investigate the role of oxidative stress in RNA virus pathogenesis. Much evidence has accumulated over the past decade suggesting that patients infected with an RNA virus are under chronic oxidative stress, and that's when they start getting worse. And in here in the middle, we focus on how oxidative stress production is correlated with host cell death. This is the problem that we're having. You have enough of these cells that die off, then you get more and more serious as time goes on. Again, this is just showing if we can limit that oxidative stress, then we have fewer cells that are damaged to the point that they die. Next study, implications of oxidative stress on viral pathogenesis. Again, we're looking at exactly the same point, but from a little different direction. An imbalance of the production of reactive species, that's the oxidative stress, and the body's inability to detoxify these reactive species is referred to as oxidative stress. So if you've got too many of them and you can't detoxify, then you've got the stress that goes with that. Therefore, the modulation of reactive species production and oxidative stress potentially represents a novel pharmacological approach to reducing the consequences of viral pathogenesis. If we can stop your body from going into oxidative stress, then we can. Then this is a new way of approaching reducing the consequences of viruses, and so that's their conclusion. Correction of glutathione deficiency in the lower respiratory tract of HIV seropositive individuals. Again, we're back to HIV because there's been a lot of studies with glutathione, with Immunical and HIV, and so here we are. Concentrations of glutathione, ubiquitous tripeptide with immune-enhancing and antioxidant properties are decreased in the blood and lung epithelial lining fluid of human immunodeficiency virus seropositive individuals. That's basically a long way of saying if you got HIV, you don't have enough glutathione. And their final conclusion, it is feasible and safe to use glutathione to augment the deficient glutathione levels of the lower respiratory tract for HIV seropositive individuals. It is rational to evaluate further the efficacy of this tripeptide in improving host defense in HIV seropositive individuals. So even people who are at that level of illness can be helped by raising their glutathione. So now, although I've been making comments all along, we're now down to just me talking. Immunotech relies on solid scientific research. I had that whole slide. How many doctors, how many publications, how many studies, how many, it relies on solid scientific research. They cut no corners to get a product out the door. If it does not pass muster in peer-reviewed double-blind studies, it's not good enough. So the Immunical product is, as I said, it's absolute. It's pristine. It's got 4 decades of research that backs it up. Dr. Gutman was responding to requests for information on a specific virus known as COVID-19. But that's not just the kind of dude he is. He's not just going to put together a quick and dirty answer to your question. He's a research scientist. And so he returned an answer which covers pretty much any virus. Now, today we're worried about this one. Tomorrow might be something else. H1N1 is really causing some problems, but it's been around for a number of years. It's still causing problems. But I'm taking an adequate amount of Immunical, and so while people around me have been sick for weeks, I was feeling kind of cruddy for a couple of days. There it is. So let's put some real meat to the ground here on COVID-19. As of the date that I'm putting this together, actually this is about a week old. So when you're watching this, it's going to be even older. These numbers might be updated. You can see the COVID-19 deaths by age group. And so if you're, say, in the 20 to 29-year-old, then 0.2% of cases, that's the death rate, which means if there were, I'm just going column by column, the deaths per 10,000. So if 10,000 20-year-olds, if 10,000 20-somethings got COVID-19, then you'd expect 20 of them to die. And I've turned that the other way around. So out of every 500 people that got COVID-19, you'd expect one of those 500 people to die. That would be the 20-something row. And you can just follow them up. The 30-somethings are about the same. The 40-somethings, that doubles their chances. So it's 40 out of 10,000 or 1 out of 250. The 50-somethings kind of is a break point there where it's 3 times what the 40-somethings were. And then you get to the 60-somethings, it's basically, it's almost triple. And you get to the 70-somethings and it's almost double. And you go to the 80s and older, then it's even bigger than that. Now what that does is that actually mimics the body's normal, the normal human's production of glutathione. As you get older, your body produces less and less glutathione. And so what you need is to do something that will normalize your immune system. Get your immune system back to where it was in your 20s and 30s. And that is the goal of the Immunical product, is to get you back to where you have the 20-something, 30-something immune system. And that's what the table at the bottom does. You can see that, if you're under 80 pounds, then it's a half a packet for each 40 pounds. If you're under 30, then one of either the regular or the platinum. If you've got an underlying health issue, which I'll discuss in a moment, it's the table off to the right, then you just add 1 packet of the platinum. And so you can just kind of follow that up. So take a moment, find what row you're on, and you can kind of see how to make that work. If you're in my case, I'm a 60-something, and so in my case, I'm at the bottom of the red. Now we kind of move over to the table on the right. In the deaths per 10,000, you can see with the deaths per 10,000 and the 60-something, that's 360 of them. Well, there's talking about people with underlying health issues. And we've actually seen that discussed a couple of times. When you have these other problems, that reduces your serum glutathione levels so that your cells don't have what they need. You get more oxidative stress. And so with that underlying health issue, your cells are more likely to be under oxidative stress. And so when something hits you, it's going to be worse. And I've heard a number of different people say that your chances of dying from COVID-19 are basically double if you have some underlying health issue. And so you can see that in the 60-something line, It's 120 normal people and 240 people with health issues. And so that's the thing. Do you have heart disease? Are you diabetic? Do you have asthma? Do you have something else that puts your body into some kind of situation where it's behind the power curve with the oxidative stress? Then you're in that far right column. If you're normal, then you're in the left column. And so you can kind of see what that looks like. I think I've rambled on long enough that anyone could have looked at this chart and found where they were and followed it across and that sort of thing. The Immunical is a product that you get, and it comes in packets, and you take however many a day. And the goal of how many you take a day is to get your immune system down to where it was as good as you were in your 20s and 30s. So if you're in your 20s and 30s, why does that say under 30 you take one a day? Well, because things hit you too. 20-somethings get sick too. 30-somethings get sick too. And you need something that's going to boost your system so that when it hits you, you're ready to go. So I'm gonna kind of turn the tables on here because I've said a lot of things here. But now I want to speak directly to you. Would I be your friend? And of course, to a lot of people that are seeing this, you don't have a clue in the world who I am, so the whole friend thing is a little esoteric. But still, go with me on this. Would I be your friend if I didn't tell you about an immunotherapy product that has the method of use patent for the treatment and prevention of cancer? That the test subjects taking it live 30% longer, has an FDA recognition as safe for daily use your whole life. You can take it every day, no problems. You can take it when you're pregnant, everything. In fact, if you take it when you're pregnant, the baby comes out better. Will help make you look and feel younger, and is only available from one source, and I can hook you up with that. Would I be your friend if I didn't tell you about that? And of course, I guess we can reverse that. And let's say you knew about it and I didn't. Would you be my friend if you didn't tell me about an immunotherapy product that could be used for the treatment and prevention of cancer, that helped the people who took it to live 30% longer, that was safe for me to use every day, that would make me look and feel younger and would make me healthier? Would you be my friend if you didn't tell me? Well, then how could I be your friend if I don't tell you? So what now? Well, I suggest you get back to the person who sent this information to you. They probably sent you the link, so you got an email with the link, or you got a Facebook post with the link, or whatever. Get back to them and say, "Hey, what's the deal here? Let's go. Let's get more information. Let's have a chat." If you got this because you did a random search for COVID-19 or whatever, you did a search for it and it just happened to fall in your lap, then there's my link. You can click on that. You'll go to a site that has some of my information. You'll watch a short video. There's going to be some text there. It'll be a lot shorter than this one. I think it's only like 8 or 9 minutes long. And then you fill out your information, you click on submit, and it takes you to some more videos that all of which were made by people a lot more intelligent than I am. And I'll have your information, and I'll be able to email you back and text you, whatever. We can have a chat. So that's kind of the situation that we have. I have a way of getting Immunical into your life. And I have a moral obligation, especially in this time where we have so many people who are now freaking about their health. I have a way of helping you with that. Helping you to quit being so scared of going out in public or so worried about who you're going to interact with. Are you going to die? All of these kinds of frustrations that are keeping people awake at night. And I know it's keeping people awake at night because I don't go anywhere that people aren't talking about it and worried about it. I have a moral obligation to get this information out to you. And so that's what I'm doing. I want to make sure that you have the information you need to make a decision. And if you say this is wonderful, we'll have a conversation. If you say this is wonderful, then that's cool. We can work on it together. If you say, yeah, thanks for no thanks, that's wonderful. But at least we can have the conversation. Or if your friend sent this to you, then he's telling you, hey, I love you too. I want you to be a part of this. And so get back with him. So that's as far as this goes. Thank you very much, and y'all have a happy.